All right, it's Friday, July 29th, 2022, and this is Den Excelsior, the Mostly Marvel podcast. I'm Dennis, and I'll be your host as we review the latest Marvel happenings across all media, as well as maybe other superpowered stories that caught our attention. And when I say we, I'm usually referring to my co-host and a panel, of nerds. But this time, it's just me and my special guest this evening. So I'm going to bring him out right now. It's been almost a year since he's been on the show, but it's always a special occasion when he's on. It's comedian Brian April.
Hey, what's up, man?
We got you out fast. It was almost under a minute and a half.
I had to say that it's been about a year because you actually had me watch Howard the Duck again, and so that I was like, never again am I torturing myself.
You were pretty stoked to watch it before.
I was actually. I was like, oh, I love that movie.
I love that movie. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, man, it's so much worse than I remember.
That was terrible.
But no, we really appreciated that because you were actually our guest the week before. And then you just, we had so much fun. And then we had a cancellation the following week for Howard the Duck. And I let you know, and you just jumped at the chance to do it. And I really appreciated that. And I think the reason that you haven't been able to be on the show, it's not that I haven't asked you. I've asked you a few times throughout the year. You were really busy, And so I appreciate that you found the time when I told you, hey, we're going to talk about Harley Quinn season 3. And you just said yes so fast, and that was awesome. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
But just before we get into talking about what you were doing and everything, just to be clear, so Ricky, unfortunately, my co-host, he had a work thing come up, so he said he's not going to be on tonight. But I don't know, every time Ricky's ever said he's not going to be on, he at least shows up in the comments drunk or something like that. But it's possible we get a Ricky later tonight. If not on this show, then on the after show, the soapbox. But I will just I'm going to plug the full formalities out of the way before we continue our conversation. Like I was saying with you a minute ago, we're going to be putting a spotlight on the premiere episodes of season 3 of Harley Quinn tonight. But before we do that, we'll have some nerd news to discuss that Ricky was nice enough to prepare for us. And hopefully a quick round of trivia that I prepared for Brian to play. He's really nervous and I'm trying to tell him not to be. For those of you joining us live, don't be shy. We'll be checking the comments regularly. And if you can't get enough of us, you should visit patreon.com/denxmedia, where you'll find a variety of creative offerings, including recent episodes of our live after show, The Soapbox. Patrons get exclusive access to chat with us, but if that's not your thing, don't worry. We'll be releasing it to the public next week. That's how we do it now. I don't think we were doing that last time you were on the show.
No, it was just exclusive.
Yeah, we kind of changed it because we're like, we felt like some of it was just too good to never share with the world. And so I'm hoping that the same is true for tonight. But yeah. But what have you been up to, man?
It's been a crazy year. I've been in therapy trying to forget Howard the Duck, mostly.
Nice.
And they just let me out. No, I've just been really, really busy with stand-up comedy, and I've been doing that for ever. And just working on getting my own social media kind of gathered. I've moved about 50 minutes north from where I was before. So okay. I have a new setup and just kind of trying to get into the swing of thing, kind of shifting away from live performance and going to more online creativity, music, sketch, videos, podcasting, all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, I think when I introduced you a year ago, it was stand-up comic, right? And that just didn't. I'm glad when you put that in your description as just comedian this time around. I don't think there's a lot of room for stand-up comedy nowadays in the same way that it used to be. You know what I mean? Like it's a new world, right? Like
It's definitely a new world, and with all of the micro content that people are consuming, just TikTok, the shorts, the reels, all that sort of thing. It's a lot less, there's a lot less room for the live performance. Plus, everyone's gone so far crazy for political correctness, where the genesis of political correctness was great, and it's protect those who help need protecting, but then it just went far too crazy, and then now it's like you can't say anything. Like, I can't say I'm fat. Yes, I'm fat. I'm totally fat, and I'm okay to say that. It's fine, so it's just kind of changed. And oh, hey, Kelly Monster, welcome.
yeah,
And it's been a weird ride, and just I'll still do stand up at some point, but I'm just trying to reach bigger audiences without having to do all the travel and the chaos and all of that. Because
let me know when you figure that out, when you crack that peanut, because I could use some help too.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. We'll hit you right on your coattails. That's fine.
There we go. I like it.
Yeah. Have you been nerding out on anything else other than Harley Quinn lately?
So, for those who've ever seen me on here, know, like, my history was I wasn't the biggest Marvel or superhero fan for the longest time. I did like kind of the basics, and then through this show and through Harley Quinn, actually watching Harley Quinn, which was on your recommendation, which thank you, because that is the greatest. It's the greatest show in the history of television, I think.
It's one of the
might
best.
Be exaggerating slightly, but it's really good. So I did go back
up there with MASH and stuff,
Yeah, definitely. Cheers. They think MASH, Seinfeld, Harley Quinn, all kind of.
Yeah.
So I ended up going back on a comic book Marvel journey. I actually reached out to you and said, "Hey, what's the best order to watch?" And I took a couple of weeks and I just plowed through almost every single Marvel movie in order. And so I guess you could say I've kind of nerded out to that. And it's been quite the change now.
When you say almost, does that mean that you only watch the ones on Disney Plus?
I watched most on Disney Plus because that's what I had, but I ended up skipping like the sequel to I didn't like Ant-Man. I'm sorry.
Really?
I didn't like it. Yeah, wasn't a fan. So I was like, I don't want to watch the second one. I have no interest in watching the second one. So
wow. Okay. You're not missing much with the second one, but did you like Ant-Man in Civil War?
I really don't like his character. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's
so.
Yeah.
I really liked Black Panther. I still love, the Iron Man movies. So the more it got into it, the more I was like, okay, I really love Iron Man. I love that character and just, his personality. But I am kind of a sarcastic person. I'm kind of I always kind of pull towards the villains, the super villains in almost any franchise, which is why I think I love Harley Quinn so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Age of Ultron, whatever. I was like, I wasn't a fan of that. And
yeah, I think the question I needed to ask is if you got all the way to Endgame. Did you do that?
I did.
And did what made you cry in Endgame?
I'm trying to remember the initial. Black Widow, right? What's that?
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. Was that the Black Widow was probably the one I was like.
Yeah,
not a fan of that. I like Black Widow.
I thought maybe Iron Man's sacrifice would have done it for you.
I figured that was coming, so yeah. I was kind of mentally prepared for him. I wasn't prepared for Black Widow.
Yeah, I think that's one of the weirdest byproducts of the movies is like with the comics. I mean, you can beat a dead horse forever, right? Like that a story can just keep going and going and going.
Right.
But with movies, we all have an unspoken understanding that like these are real human beings that are playing these characters, and you cannot contractually keep them around in perpetuity, right? So like it was pretty impressive how long they kept Robert Downey Jr. as the linchpin of that, but we knew it had to end. And so like I was just really happy with how it ended because like it really paid a lot of service to that character.
Yeah.
And he's like cemented in that universe forever, his legacy. It's cool.
Yeah, they paid it off really well, and I think for the fans as well. I think.
Yeah, and I think he's also kind of like technically like he gave that universe Spider-Man also, right? You know, like
Mhm.
that's kind of his an extra contribution. Like Spider-Man's kind of the reason he did everything in that movie, right? Like because he felt guilty because he was at
Yeah,
home with his daughter, but he knew that there was this kid out there that was dead because he wasn't doing anything. So it's really interesting, but I'm really that's really cool that you watched all those. Like
yeah. It was
uh
weird to see the different tones too, like because then you get into Guardians of the Galaxy,
yeah,
and that just has a completely different vibe and tone and feel than
yeah.
a lot of the
And
other things.
that's why I'm not like actually offended that you didn't like Ant-Man because like I think that's the thing that a lot of people miss out on because like you know Marvel is totally just the reason they've been so successful is they've applied their formula to comic books to the movies, right? They've done something that nobody else has been able to recreate. And it's probably because nobody else has that kind of backlog to use except for Warner Brothers and DC. But I'm not even going to get into why. I don't even understand what they're doing wrong. They could literally be doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
like
But the funny thing about it is a lot of people forget that, like, the thing about comics is you read the ones you like, you don't read all of them because that's not
right,
sustainable. You know what I mean? And so, like, yeah, it's easier to give 2 hours of your time to a movie and stuff like that. But tonally, they're all different. That's the point of them. They're supposed to be different flavors. That are supposed to be different access points, and the amount of fun you have when they all cross over is increased for each one you watched.
right,
But it doesn't detract from it if you know who Ant-Man is now because
right.
you did the work, you know, and so yeah, you
Well,
don't have
it's like ice cream. Everybody has the flavor that they like, and so then
yeah
when you see them all kind of come together, and you see the clash of personalities. But it was also interesting for me to see, like, I really liked the original Captain America, and then the more that it went on, the more I was like, oh, I can't stand him, and just from the
oh
whole,
wow,
yeah,
that's a hot take, Brian. That's a
uh, you
hot
know,
take.
that's what I
Yeah,
do.
okay, all right, fair enough.
At Comedy Brian, everybody, just bring it. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Just, yeah, please don't throw your hate here this way. Just
Yeah, no,
send that over to Brian.
that's all. I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that we could have that impact on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we could say the same about you on our show. No, it's no, yeah. I was telling you before the show, Frank, who used to be on the show all the time. I reached out to him to try and get him to come on just to have so we'd have a third. I always like having like multiple voices to like weigh in on things and. Frank was really bummed that he had a prior engagement because like when he heard that it was you and we were going to be talking about Harley Quinn, those are like two of his favorite things. So like he was really excited. So yeah, you had an impact. You are definitely welcome whenever you want.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
it's cool, but I think before we get too sappy and make you cry, why don't we try out the news that Ricky prepared for us, and let's just see what kind of stuff is going on in the world of Ricky. Here we go. All right, so you may have heard, I don't know, if there was this thing called Comic-Con last week. Um, and it pretty much dominated the news cycle for the whole week. We didn't do a show last week because Ricky and I were at Comic Con, and so while there may have been 2 weeks worth of news, Ricky pretty much just only prepared stuff from Comic Con because that was all the news that mattered, I guess, to Marvel fans. But yeah, I was there. It was a lot of people. It was the most people I've been around in 2.5 years. I've still tested negative, and I'm really thankful for that. I don't know how that happened, but but yeah, no, it was fun. I did not go to the giant Hall H event where Marvel was there to unveil the next 40 years of content or however many years it is. But Ricky was there, and he did say he cried a lot. And so he got some slides that he wanted to show us. So the big news is, I don't know if you heard about this one, but they basically said that Phase 4, which is the current thing that we've been watching on Disney Plus and some of the movies, Phase 4 actually comes to an end at the end of or in November with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, with She-Hulk coming out right before the She-Hulk comes out in about 2-3 weeks from now. So She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever are going to be the last pieces of Phase 4. I don't know how much of Phase 4 have you watched since we last saw you.
I've been a little behind. I haven't really watched Loki or any of that. So I've watched a few things. I think I ended just after
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. So I kind of went through like what was there, except for I didn't go into, like I said, my gosh, my brain is gone.
Did you watch Spider-Man: No Way Home?
I did.
Okay.
So that's about it.
Right.
I think that's probably the last one I've seen.
Okay. So Loki I recommend it. It's pretty cool, especially because you like the villains so much. You know what I mean? Like it's a really well done show. But Loki is kind of like what they're pointing to as the starting point of all of this crazy multiverse madness stuff that's happening. And so Marvel, you know how like the first 3 phases of the movies, once they were all done, they rebranded it and called it the Infinity Saga. I guess what they're calling this new saga that's taking place over another 3 phases or so, they've branded that as the Multiverse Saga. Which all kind of kicked off with Loki. But yeah, so they were nice enough to show like Phase 5, and they basically just listed the entire roadmap for, I think all of Phase 5 is next year. It's all next year. So starting off with what you're really excited about, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Day one.
Day one, yeah. That's going to be a movie featuring a character that first appeared in Loki. I don't want to spoil that for you, but everybody who watched it knows. Secret Invasion will be the first TV show next year on Disney Plus, and that one's basically going to continue. Did you watch Captain Marvel?
I did not yet.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm behind on that.
No, I got caught. Captain Marvel was before Endgame.
Oh, yes. Then I think
with Brie Larson.
Oh yes. I'm sorry, I didn't see the new one. Was it?
Okay, so the Miss Marvel is a different character.
That's okay.
So Secret Invasion is gonna kind of continue off of the story that was set up there, where we find out that the Nick Fury that we've been seeing for all this time has always been Talos. And actual Nick Fury has been in space, I think, since the Captain Marvel movie. And so I guess other Skrull have been here on Earth. So it's a secret invasion, hence the name. And then we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which will be another movie. Did you like those movies?
I did. They were different. You know, it's weird because when you're watching them, you know, consecutively, and then you get to that, the whole tone just changes. The soundtrack was great, and it took a little adjusting and getting used to, you know, Groot. But I hear Batista's not doing them anymore. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So they actually announced that James Gunn has clarified that this will be the end of that group of Guardians. There's actually the Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of like a title, kind of like the Avengers. There's been a lot of different ones throughout the years in the comics, but this will be the end of that core group that we've gotten accustomed to, partially because I don't know if James Gunn's coming back for more, but Batista is kind of like retiring from that kind of thing. He was threatening to leave, honestly, when James Gunn was temporarily fired from the whole thing. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited for it because, like, you know, I would like to see an end to their story. I think their story does fit a 3-act structure really well, and I kind of do want Peter Quill to be gone anyways, because like
Yeah.
he's a little awkward in real life now, lately in the media.
Yeah.
So like, so I'm cool with losing a Chris. If we gotta lose a Chris, oh, I mean, I would have rathered it was the Pratt over the Evans, but we still got a Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And then Echo is the next show after Secret Invasion. Did you watch Hawkeye? You have not watched Hawkeye.
I have not watched Hawkeye.
Okay, Echo is a character introduced in the Hawkeye show in December. Spoilers: they also brought back Kingpin from the Netflix Daredevil show, and he's basically the villain of the Echo show, and which will also feature Daredevil from the Netflix. So they're bringing him back. Then Loki season 2 is sometime next year. The Marvels will be next year, and that's going to be like the sequel to Captain Marvel, but it's going to feature several other characters, including Monica Rambeau from WandaVision and Miss Marvel from the recent show that just ended a couple weeks ago. And then Blade is finally, we get a Blade. This list is nuts, dude. I'm sorry for this. You let me know your thoughts on any of these. What do you think about Blade finally?
Are they bringing Wesley Snipes back? I didn't see the announcement.
To my knowledge, no. Okay. Mahershala Ali is playing Blade.
Okay, but yeah, that's been what 30 years at this point.
Blade kicked off the whole Marvel movie franchise. Honestly, yeah.
Blade but that was like the 90s.
I want to say 1997.
Gosh,
I want to say 97.
25 years anyway.
Yeah,
so it's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. Then there's Ironheart. Are you familiar with that one?
I am not.
I'm barely familiar with that. It's a character named Riri Williams that she will be introduced this year in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. She is kind of like a super genius young girl that will take over and build a better Iron Man suit than Iron Man. And so that's the show, Ironheart. Agatha, Coven of Chaos. They're giving her a show. She gets her own show on Disney Plus. It was Agatha all along. How do you feel about that one?
I don't know too much about it, truthfully. So
you didn't watch WandaVision?
I did not. I ended up going. What ended up happening with me is I ended up going down the Star Wars rabbit hole.
Oh no!
And then Stranger Things rabbit hole, and Mandalorian, and Boba, Book of Boba, and Obi-Wan, and all that. So that's kind of where I.
Gotcha.
So I kind of left I was like, okay, I've finished this chunk. Now I'm going to go to this chunk, and I'll probably jump back in and watch a lot of Phase 4.
Gotcha. Well, continuing off of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, no surprise here. Captain America: New World Order. We'll see the continuation of Sam and Bucky's story. As Sam is the new Captain America. That's another movie. These are all coming out next year, dude. I think next year.
That's crazy.
It might be it might be the next 2 years, actually. And then Daredevil Born Again was announced over the weekend at Comic-Con. It's going to be an 18-episode series on Disney Plus, bringing back officially Charlie Cox as Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin. 18 episodes is so many. That's like a third of the year we could be talking about that show.
Yeah.
So I think I'm thankful for that. Yeah. And then they said that the finale of Phase 5 will be Thunderbolts. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's basically the Marvel equivalent of the Suicide Squad.
Gotcha.
It's they take all of their villains that are still alive and they make a fake superhero team out of them. So it's kind of like I kind of like it because it's like the antithesis of the Avengers. Instead of getting an Avengers to cap off a phase, we're gonna get a bad Avengers.
Nice. I like that.
You saw Julia Louis-Dreyfus in at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right?
Yes.
Yes. So presumably she's the one she's like the evil Nick Fury. So she's kind of going around assembling a bad Avengers.
I like that. I like I like that concept of just flipping the script and going with the villains.
Yeah, I think I like this idea better because one, it's going to be a few years removed for Suicide Squad, but two, unlike Suicide Squad, like these are going to be villains that we've gotten to know throughout 15 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them that are still alive, and I'm pretty excited for that. But my favorite one, I don't know if you know, but the leader, you typically the guy who comes out as the leader of the Thunderbolts is Zemo. Zemo from
Right.
Falcon and Winter Soldier
Okay.
and Civil War. Yeah, it's that guy. He's usually the guy who ends up doing the Machiavellian shit with that stuff. It's pretty fun.
Nice.
But yeah, and then that wasn't enough. They felt the need to go one further and let us know that they've also got some Phase 6 stuff planned. Phase 6 is going to start with a official Fantastic Four movie, and they said that it's going to end with 2 Avengers movies in the same year. I think this is 2026 that they're planning this one for. The first one is Avengers Kang Dynasty, and the second one is Avengers Secret Wars. The names are supposed to evoke excitement, but again, if you're not a comic book fan, you're just like, okay, those are names.
Right.
But Secret Wars was like probably one of the most popular comic books for people who were my age that were kids back in the 80s. It was kind of like the first time Marvel ever thought to do a giant crossover event. So like it's a very nostalgic thing, but they actually did a sequel to it a few years ago that's it's a better told story. But it's basically you take all your toys ever and you mash them together for 2 hours, and
there you go.
That's what Secret Wars will be. It'll be pretty fun.
I'm excited about the new Fantastic Four because the last one was not good. So I didn't enjoy it.
The last 3 were not good.
So I'm hoping that with some time now, I feel like they're starting to get the formulas down for these movies to hopefully make them a little better. So
technically, the last 4 were not good because I don't know. Have you ever seen the one that was shelved by Universal? I think it was, or
no.
Oh yeah, like there's a Roger Corman one that they had him make it just because they needed it to make a movie to retain the rights.
Gotcha.
And like many years ago at Comic-Con, I bought a bootleg of that movie just so I could watch it. It is terrible, but for an '80s movie, I guess it's terrible.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I think there's no way they can do this wrong. I just don't think there is. Did you happen to catch the Doctor Strange movie that came out a few months ago?
I haven't. I'm still behind on that. I've been getting yelled at by everyone for that too.
All right,
So,
I won't
see Doctor Strange.
You might want to see that one before you watch.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there might have been the first Doctor Strange, so
there might have been some hints in that one.
Gotcha.
And then let's see what else Ricky's got here. Oh yeah, and then like a day after announcing all these movies, they announced that the director of the King Dynasty would be the same guy who directed Shang-Chi. I'll reserve judgment until I see that movie. I'm not a big fan of Shang-Chi. I'm in the minority there on that one. I thought it was a great start to a bad movie. But that's just my 2 cents. And then Ricky just threw in this slide of cartoon versions of characters. I'm going to guess these are characters that will be featured in the also announced season 2, or I think they also announced season 3 of What If. If you've never watched What If, I highly recommend watching that after you watch Loki. Loki kind of does this thing that says, oops, here's the multiverse. And then right after that show is the first animated show from Marvel, which is What If, and every episode functions like those old What If comics.
Right.
You used to read those, right? You read some of the What Ifs? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're awesome. They're so charming because they're just self-contained stories within 30-40 minutes each episode, and they're bonkers. They do some really cool stuff. But the coolest part is they got a lot of the cast of the movies to come back to do the voice acting. And one of the saddest parts is they actually got Chadwick Boseman to do like 3 episodes of What If. And that's a bummer because when you finally watch the last one, that's the last thing ever. And he was really great in it too. So I highly recommend that show. That was actually my favorite show of last year, just because I think those comics are what made me love Marvel because I
Mm,
knew that they don't take themselves too seriously ever. You know, that like no
right.
story is worth not doing a do-over on, you know, and seeing a different take on it. And that's been their philosophy for like the last, 60 or 70 years now. It's like, what if we did the story differently?
Right.
Okay, let's just try it again. And that's what the
Right.
movies
Well,
do too, you know? So
yeah. How many times have they made Spider-Man? You know, a,
exactly.
a
Yeah.
thousand. So, you know.
It's about 1,000. Yeah. And then I'm just going to take you through this really quick. I think this is the last of Ricky's slides, but I have a bunch of slides I added, which are all the freaking toys that I have to buy in the next few months and stuff like that. I'm just going to show them to you. You give me your hot takes on what you think they are or what you know. Uh, there's Loki and a Tesseract. Is this cool or not cool?
I think that is, I would say cool. I would definitely go cool. Not a fan of the sword in his hand, but he's got the hair. He kind of looks like Nathan Drake with a business tie and Loki's head.
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. I think he looks more like a pencil pusher, but
Yeah.
I can see it. Uh, the only reason I'm not excited about this one is because it's the only way to get this freaking Loki figure, and they've released that Tesseract before as a Comic Con
Okay.
exclusive many years ago. So I have to buy a second Tesseract just to get a Loki
Oh, okay.
figure.
See,
And
that's why
that's
I would want it for the Tesseract.
the Tesseract is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, here's the next one. Oh no, those are just close up pictures, so you don't have
My
to go over the.
first day at the office.
There you go. Yeah, that's how he appeared in most of the show.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's cool if you're addicted to these plastic crack like I am. You do need this figure. So moving along, here's some more pictures of the Tesseract. As you can see, you can open it up. It's actually got texture inside, and then the batteries go in that little orb in the middle, and then you light this thing up. Here's some other characters from the Loki show, which don't mean anything to Brian because he didn't watch it yet. And they're giant spoilers, but whatever.
That's okay.
It's a classic Loki and a He Who Remains. That's all we'll say about those. Those will be coming out later in another unofficially announced Disney Plus wave of Marvel Legends. Speaking of Disney Plus, the last one of the next wave was finally revealed. She-Hulk, this is the figure. She's going to be coming out in the same wave that they've been teasing all year long with all the different shows from Hawkeye. What are the other shows that we've watched? I can't even remember. Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk now. I think it's cool. I'm excited for this. Like, it's going to be like a crazy CG show because, like,
Right.
it's like the effects of the Hulk, but also on her too. The Mark Ruffalo is in the She-Hulk show as the Hulk, so they're gonna have like double Hulk effects going on throughout the show. It's pretty nuts.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that action figure though. For those who can't see it, she's wearing like a gym, like a purple gym outfit. It's like she's going to do Zumba.
Yeah, because if you're a Hulk, you have to wear purple. That's like the rule.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Well, the sneakers were hot too.
Yeah, and here's from two episodes of What If. It's another figure that will be included in the next Disney Plus wave. I think it's one of them is Brian's favorite character. This is the MCU Howard the Duck. The other one is apparently Brian's least favorite character. That's actually a decapitated head of Scott Lang. From the Marvel Zombies episode of What If. It's pretty funny. But yeah, you get a 2-pack of these two together.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then do you remember this cartoon, Brian?
Oh, man. Well, I remember the original Spider-Man one.
Yeah, this one's from like the mid 80s. I want to say like 83, 84, Spider-Man and his amazing friends. It is the dumbest combination of characters. For some reason, right. Spider-Man, they decided he needs sidekicks. How about Iceman and Firestar? And there you go. I freaking loved this show when I was a kid. And so I'm pretty geeked out that they're doing this as a box set. That's funny. It's cool and stupid. And they also come with the dog that was there. It was like the three of them were living. You know what it was? They were living in an apartment. They were going to college together, but the three of them were living in this apartment that had like walls that would like revert, like turn, and
Right.
like when they'd pull a lever, and then all the command stations would come out and stuff. But they still had a dog named Miss Lion, and that was her. And so there you go. There's the three of them.
That's phenomenal.
It keeps going, Brian. I have too many. If you still like cartoons, here's some nods to the old 90s cartoons. You watch those, right? The X-Men and the Spider-Man cartoons. They're releasing a Beast with a lab coat and Scorpion in his classic cartoon colors. Thoughts on these?
The Beast looks great. I think.
Yeah.
I really think that's cool. And it's got detachable, looks like an extra set of hands.
It does. And he's also got that head to swap out. So you can have a screaming head, and then he's got beakers like to do experiments with.
And then he's got glasses.
Yeah, and he's got the glasses. Yeah. And then there's a Scorpion with his bendy tail right there.
Nice.
As long as it bends, that's all you really need from a Scorpion.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then to fill out the upcoming Galactus, there's a Heralds of Galactus 2-pack. These are probably two characters Brian has no clue who they are, and that's cool. It's Terrax and the Fallen One. Those are just deep cuts for people who like cosmic Marvel stuff. But they're going to be they released these two as a pre-order over the weekend also. And I was like, geez, stop. And then on Monday, they're like, no, we'll never stop. On Monday, after Comic-Con was over, they're like, guess what? Now you buy figures for Black Panther Wakanda Forever because the trailer just came out. Did you happen to see that trailer, by the way?
I didn't. It's good.
Oh, my God. It might be one of the best trailers I've seen in like the last 5 years.
Wow.
I felt some things watching that trailer. It was very powerful. It's cool because, they're treating his death as canon in the story.
Right.
And so the first part of that trailer is it's a tearjerker, man. It's pretty powerful. But yeah, they got new characters, including Namor, who's going to be introduced in the Marvel Universe officially. And then you got Nakia with a new outfit, and then you got Okoye, and then there's some closer up figures. The Namor, you're familiar with Namor, right? The Submariner.
Yes.
They've chosen to like design him to be based on like Aztec kind of culture, which is really cool looking.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then those are those characters, and then they're also bringing back, if you never got him before, you can get Agent Everett Ross again, and some comic book figures are thrown in as well, some classic Black Panther, and an army builder, Hatu Zaraze. Those are just comic names. I'm just saying words at this point now. And then you buy them all, and you get to form another villain from the movie, Atuma. Again, just words. All these are words. Are you familiar with Atuma?
No.
I don't blame you. I'm not either. It's cool.
Yeah.
And then they also, that wasn't enough. They said, guess what, guys? Fork over your entire life savings because we're going to be doing a 50-year anniversary crowdfund event for Ghost Rider later this year. So suck it all. And there you go. And that's all the slides I got for that.
They have the formula down.
They have the formula.
They are putting out the content and taking in the money.
They're evil. They're evil. And I love it. I can't help myself. But yeah, thank you for putting up with all of that. That was a lot from my side of things. I think Ricky's stuff was long too. But what was the thing that excited you most out of all the garbage I just showed you?
Oh, geez. Dude, I really like the some of the action figures, especially the Black Panther action figures look really, really sharp. Those are nice. Mr. Beast, great. There's so much there to unpack, dude.
I did show you a lot of things.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
I realize I have a lot of work to do. So, but cool. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to get in and dive in.
And now you have about 42 new movies and TV shows that you have to watch in the next year and a half.
Yes.
It was a lot. That's so much freaking content, man. I'm a little terrified. But I mean, that's what this show exists for, right? Is just to blab about that stuff all day long. But what if I told you that I now have a trivia for you, and it's going to tie into what I just showed you.
Oh, perfect. Not going to miss
All
a question. Not one
right.
question. I will get one wrong.
All right, so here's the thing. I kind of lied when I said, and that's all the product that they showed. That's actually not true. They showed even more product that I have to buy one day, but they did not say when or where these things will be available. So I handpicked 5 action figures
Okay.
that were also announced at Comic-Con. And I thought it'd be fun to do a spin on a game that we've done in the past, which is name that superhero or name that legend or whatever. Normally, I have you try and figure out the actual name of the character. And sometimes I'll like list a multiple choice of like 4 names, and they're really ridiculous. And I come up with the crazy ones that could be real, but just sound a little off. Another time we did one for the boys where I just kind of like show you the character and you have to just guess who it is from the show. But this time around, I thought, you know what? Let's give you a trivia that you can't fail. You're going to use your comedic senses to give me the best name you have for each of these characters.
All right. I love it. I love this.
Here you go. It's Name That Legend. If you need to zoom in here, maybe I can make it a little bigger for you there.
I can see pretty well.
You can feel free to describe what this guy looks like before you give me his epic name.
All right, so male character, yellow suit, shirt, arms, pants, blue belt, blue cape, blue boots, giant S on his belt. I'm going to go with let's see. I'm going to go Surfer Bra.
Surfer Bra.
Surfer Bra.
Is it because of his wavy locks?
Yes, he does have the very blonde, wavy locks.
Okay.
He's got a bad case of bedhead.
What if I gave you an alternate picture of him that shows an alternate head he also comes with? Does this help at all? Now are you still going with Surfer Bro?
Yeah, man. Well, now the alternate picture shows a skeleton, and then his wavy hair is now flying back, and I can't tell if that's fire coming out of it or not. But
I'm not sure if it's fire. I think it's definitely his skin is peeled off for sure.
It's that is Surfer Bra sees the Ark of the Covenant.
Nice. Okay. All right. I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take it. If you're curious, the real name of this character is Sentry. And basically the short of it is he's kind of like one of many Marvel Superman type characters, but hence the S and all that stuff, hence the wardrobe. But the twist on him is he is actually his own supervillain as well. Like, so he's got a split personality kind of thing. Okay. So he becomes the Void. So that other head that you saw is the transition process to becoming the Void. It's like an action feature you get with the toy. But yeah, there you go. Sentry. You ready for the next one?
I am ready. Let's do this.
Name that legend and describe it too. There you go.
Okay, so has female, pink and call it maroon. Looks a little bit like Venom. The face looks like Venom. Long purplish, reddish, not purple, but more reddish, maroonish hair. Going out into, I can't tell if the tail is coming from the hair.
It is. It's part of her hair.
Yeah. That is part of her hair. Okay. That is...
it's almost like tentacles, I guess. Like kind of like the Venom thing,
Well, the easy one would be She-Venom, right? That would be like... That's kind of the... I mean, they got She-Hulk.
I thought maybe you'd say Shenum.
Shenum, there we go. Yeah, we go. Shenum Twain. Go with Shania Twain and mix that.
Okay.
I'll go Shenum.
Okay, Shenum was what I was hoping for, but this character is named Agony. Did you ever see the Venom movie?
I did not. That's actually on my list to see this week.
That's a rough one. Okay. Well, the short of it is, you're familiar with the character Venom. You know who he is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Alien symbiote attached to Spider-Man, got his powers, blah blah blah. There's a corporation in the story in the comics that at one point they got a hold of Venom and they forced it to spawn like 5 children symbiotes, and they used those symbiotes to bond to 5 people that they planned to deploy as some sort of symbiote cops or something like that.
Okay.
It did not go well, obviously. But Agony is one of the 5. Agony is actually the one that died first. She's the dead one. But there are 5. Hasbro
she
has
doesn't
made,
look. Yeah, she doesn't look like she's in agony. That's the problem.
Yeah, I guess
She's got a big smile on her face.
It's true. It's true. The maybe it's because she inflicts agony. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what this had to do with anything, but somebody was saying he cried because he loved his $12 pizza so much. I'm not sure what that is in reference to, but thanks for watching, EK. Appreciate it. All right, here's the next one. Here you go. Name that legend.
Okay, that we got. We'll call it a yellow. I'll go yellow. It's more of a like a lemon type of suit, green front, chest plate, gloves, boots. Looks like his eyes are being replaced by like tomatoes. Got a green mask, and he's got little butterfly wings in the back. Not fully butterfly wings, but more like fly wings. So that is that is. It does. It looks like his eyes get smushed by tomatoes, and it's like coming down the side of his face. So I'm going to say that is vegetarian man.
Vegetarian man.
Yeah, vegetarian man.
Your guess is just as bad as good as the real name. His name is Human Fly.
Okay.
Yeah. I got nothing on this one. He's a human fly, and he looks ridiculous. He looks ridiculous.
I love the pained look on his face, though. Like he looks like he's screaming.
He looks like he doesn't want to be here. He really, he's like, I don't want to be in this costume anymore. Please take it off of me.
If you've seen Stranger Things, he looks like Vecna got to him. That's all.
Yeah, he does. All right, here you go. Another one. This one might be cheating, but here you go. I told you they made 3 before. Here's another one of the symbiote cops.
That's right.
It's not Venom, just to be clear. You know it's not Venom because it doesn't have a giant white spider on his chest.
Right. I would say that's a big, it's a Venom looking, as you described, and he's kind of blue gray, kind of I would say like I'm trying to think. Is he more like The Rock or is he more like Schwarzenegger? So he's kind of like bodybuilder. He's got he is very buff, and he's got a blade. Looks a little bit like the head of an alien from the movie Aliens, like a very flat version of that, like a sword made out of that. So I will go with, let's see. I'm trying to think of a good one for him. I don't want to go with Venom. I don't want to have like a Venom thing. So if that was Agony, I'll go Misery. Misery.
All right, that's pretty good. His actual name is Venom. No, I'm just kidding. It's Riot. Riot, coincidentally, is the villain of the Venom movie that you haven't watched yet.
Gotcha.
So, spoilers. I just spoiled that for you.
He does look like he's laughing a lot.
I don't know that they ever call him Riot in the movie, but that's what he is. But yeah, there you go. And then I got one last one. I hope this one pleases you. Here you go. Name that legend.
What the actual? Okay, all right. So we have a green body, yellow belt, gloves, shoes. A guy with a boar's head just shoved over him. So his face is sticking out of the boar's mouth. And Good God, what what is that? That is that's taxidermy man.
That's a good name. It's a good name.
I'm going shallow with the man stuff, but
apparently
the
this
taxidermy.
guy, he was more creative than that. His real name is Buford T. Hollis. He is from Arkansas, and he chooses to call himself Razorback.
Okay.
This guy was actually created in 1977. He's one of him and the Human Fly are some of the most ridiculous Spider-Man villains that people don't know about, and that's just a testament to how far down the rabbit hole this toy line has gone. That they can give us a character named Razorback that looks as stupid as this character does.
That's pretty stupid. I wondered, can you take the head off the?
I don't know, but dear God, I hope so, because that thing is ridiculous.
That is the dumbest. That is the dumbest looking action figure I think I've ever seen.
There you go. I aim to please. And guess what, Brian? You won all 5 rounds of that one. So good job.
Yes.
You did it.
Thank you.
I told you I'd give you one that you couldn't fail at. I appreciated the names. I appreciate, when I get him eventually, whenever he comes out, I'm going to call him Taxidermy Man because I like it. It makes sense.
I wanted to keep it kind of simple.
Yeah, but I think we've waited long enough. We're going to do the thing that we brought you here to talk about. So let's do this. All right, it's time to finally put a spotlight on Harley Quinn season 3. They were nice enough to give us 3 episodes this week. It just dropped yesterday, I guess at midnight on Wednesday.
Yeah.
3 episodes. It's been, I think, 2 years since the last season of Harley Quinn. I know it's been less time for you because you just kind of joined. You jumped in on the show last year, but it's still been a long time, right? A really long time. But yeah, for anybody who was not aware that the new season started this week, spoiler warning. If you haven't watched them yet, please turn away and come back when you have. You'll thank us later, I promise. But for anybody who still chooses to ignore that warning, I'm gonna give like a quick summary really quick of like it's just like the fun little like descriptions that HBOMAX puts on each episode. There was 3 episodes. So the first one was titled Harlivy, and the description was, after fleeing the wedding, Harley and Ivy go on an eat, bang, kill tour that leads them to a secret project Ivy abandoned years ago. The second one was There's No Ivy in Team. After a heist gone wrong, Harley takes the crew to an escape room to foster camaraderie and sharpen Ivy's leadership skills. And the third one was the 83rd Annual Villy Awards. After receiving a Best Couple nomination at the 83rd Annual Villy Awards, Ivy finds herself seated next to her ex's new girlfriend while Harley goes overboard to ensure their win. There you go. I think that was a pretty safe summary that didn't spoil a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
But I guess before we just start talking about like in all the specific characters and stuff that we got to revisit after so many years, like I just want to know, like, how did it feel for you to have this back again?
So glad to have it back. One of the things that I really love about this show is the way that they write it and the perspective that they come at, the characters that they give. And they will give certain characters. I'm assuming people have seen the show, otherwise, But the way, for example, Bane, one of my favorite characters, the juxtaposition of Bane, his physical stature, and then what they do with him mentally and how he acts. It's just great as a comedian to see, them using those sort of techniques. That's right. The surfboard we possess with the spirit of vengeance.
We just had some late comments coming in. It could be our services just backed up. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt. But
no, not at all. But yeah, so I was so excited to see it, and I really, for me personally, feel like episode 1 didn't disappoint. Episode 2 was by far my favorite of the 3, and then 3 I was kind of like, okay, like I know they have some sort of felt like more of a filler episode to me to kind of just get to the number of what are they doing 12 episodes.
I think there's like 10 or 12 episodes. I think it's 12 because there's 12 episodes this season. This show's going to be on for a while.
Yeah, but I love the show. I love the characters. I was excited. We're doing a little bit of spoilers now. We're doing spoilers.
Oh, we're doing all spoilers now. You can spoil the crap out of it.
It appears to me, anyway, assuming you're probably in the same mind, that the Suicide Squad's going to be there. Seeing Amanda Waller there, that was kind of cool. So I'm assuming they're going to be sort of the antagonists somehow in this. I'm going to see how they merge it, because King Shark is part of that. Harley Quinn's obviously part of all of that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with them. But I really think they're going to bring them in and have them be the conflict anyway. Yeah,
I think that's interesting you brought that up, because the funny thing, I mean, the character Harley Quinn, where she first appeared, right? She first appeared in the animated series that we all grew up with watching in the 90s. That she never appeared. She was never a comic book character, but she became so popular from that cartoon that they had the writer of the character from the cartoon do a guest, writing spot on a comic to introduce her officially into the comic book universe, right? But she was still a sidekick for a long time for the Joker in the comics too. And I think it wasn't until somebody put her on the Suicide Squad that she kind of really blew up into this really popular character that was independent of the Joker. And so she's just, ever since then, she's just snowballed, which is why we have an entire show about her, and we have movies about her too. You know what I mean? This character, once she got a life of her own, an identity of her own outside of the Joker. So it's kind of fun that the first season of the show was her going through that journey, right, of becoming independent from him and stuff. But it's, so what I'm saying is anybody who loves her in the comics knows that she's pretty integral to the successful Suicide Squad stories of recent times. And so I would hope that we're going to get a little bit of Suicide Squad throughout the whole season, because that shit's funny, man. That group, the thing that amuses me the most about the Suicide Squad is they are the loseriest losers of all the losers, that if they fail to do anything that Waller wants, she just blows up their heads.
Right.
She just blows up their heads. And so I'd be really shocked, but not completely shocked, if they strap one of those bombs onto to Harley in this season. But yeah, I think the most fun part about this show is I don't know where the hell it's going ever, because it's so freaking off the rails. In that Villies episode, they hold an in memoriam to all the characters that are classic Batman villains that Harley murdered in the last 2 seasons of the show. Those characters should not be dead, but they are. They're dead. So this is Harley Quinn. The show is the greatest what if of the DC universe. You know what I mean? She teamed up with Darkseid in one season. I can't remember when that happened, but she was gonna make a deal with Darkseid to take over the world. Harley Quinn did that. That's so good. But I think I will agree with you that the second episode was my favorite. Not that I didn't love the third episode. The third episode cracked me up because all the random characters in the background that you're watching at the award show, whatever, are just, and the guy with the guy that I thought was Cop King until we learned who the real Cop King was. All of these characters were ridiculous. But the thing that I really loved about the second episode was we got Nightwing. And I really love that even though this is a Harley Quinn show, they constantly like to give you little check-ins on the Bat family.
Right.
And to see how just freaking dysfunctional they are and hilarious they are. And you got to not only get a check-in with the official Harley Quinn introduction of Dick Grayson, Nightwing, but he got picked up by Alfred, aka the Macaroni.
Yep.
Macaroni's just canon now in this storyline, man, and that's That's so stupid and so awesome at the same time. I can't get enough of the macaroni.
Yeah, they took him right out at the knees. Just, the writers did, just were like, oh, we're going to just make you look ridiculous right off the bat. And I love that. That's one of the things I really love about the show is they do that with Batman, and they do that with, they just come in, and they come in hard at all the heroes. And
I'm just curious.
Nothing sacred.
Did you recognize the voice of Nightwing? Have you ever watched What We Do in the Shadows?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, I recommend that one as well. That is an amazing comedy. It's based on it's inspired by a movie of the same name that was produced and written and directed by Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement. So if you like Taika Waititi, I'm sure you're familiar with some of his other stuff. Check out What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show. It's super good. But Harvey Guillen plays the Familiar on that show, and he is an amazing character on that show because he's kind of he's a round individual, but throughout the course of the show, he's just a familiar, but you learn that he's also a descendant of Van Helsing. So he suddenly turns into Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's this the rotund guy that I hope that's not the wrong word to use for him. But they get him to do all this amazing stunt choreography and fight and do all these cool action sequences and stuff. And it looks freaking hilarious. But the problem was the show is so great, but it's so niche that we're this guy needs to be on more things because he's so good. And so when he shows up as Nightwing, I'm like, thank you, because this guy needs more work and he's too funny. And I love the brooding take he's trying to do at the beginning, and then he's I can't wait to see. Yeah, why are you talking to me it's like, that's how I talk. But yeah, I think I jumped around a little bit ahead of the thing. As much as I was excited about Nightwing, I'm just curious. How's Harley for you this season?
Her character is kind of, I don't know, feels a little. They're making her a little obviously clingy, the clingy, wife, girlfriend. Oh, it's our, 18th day anniversary, whatever. And so obviously there's going to be some conflict coming in with that. But she seems to lost a little bit of her edge from the previous seasons. That's kind of how I feel.
I think that's intentional though, right?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. And I think that'll probably ramp back up probably towards the end of the season when.
Do you think I expect break up? Do you think they're going to break up?
I do. I think Ivy's going to become probably the main antagonist. That's what I would like to see that, and then that can kind of blend in more with the Suicide Squad if they come in. Maybe there's a mixture that way.
Yeah, I think the fun of her character is we make it sound like it's past tense, she figured out who she is and got her and claimed her independence from the Joker, but really I think the point of the show, right, is she's never given herself time to breathe outside of a relationship to actually figure out who she is without a romantic partner. So even though Ivy is leaps and bounds better than the Joker as far as mental health goes and being a supportive, partner, Poison Ivy's still a fucking supervillain who's also got her own damage and her own insecurities and her own baggage that is maybe not equipped properly to be the person Harley needs. I'm not sure anybody is the person that Harley needs to fulfill all the roles.
I don't think there is one. Yeah.
But I think that's why I like that Villy's episode, because that conversation that Ivy had with Kite Man's girlfriend outside, at least they realized, at least in the moment, how lucky they both are and how they should be more supportive of their significant others than they have been. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was a glimmer of hope that I don't think will last.
No.
But
I really think Ivy, that's kind of my hot take, I guess, is that Ivy's going to be my bold prediction. She's going to be the main antagonist and kind of learn and just take this kind of victim and the failure and the fear. And then once she gets that confidence and that fire kind of rolls, and she's just going to ascend.
I mean, as a reminder, her plan is to terraform the planet to make it like crappy for anybody that's not plants.
Right.
So, I mean, at some point, that's going to be really awkward for Harley and Clayface and King Shark and Frank. Well, no, I guess Frank the Plant would be fine.
Yeah, Frank.
Yeah.
Although he kind of got the boost, and now what's the future of his character?
Yeah, I think he ate. He said some of it got in his mouth, right? The
and then he was like
formula,
and he said, "I'm a god," and took off.
Oh yeah, that's right. He flew away, didn't he? He has like legs and stuff now, right? Like Oh yeah, I forgot because I watched them all yesterday, and then I started rewatching the first two today. But I didn't get to my second rewatch of the last episode, so I kind of forgot. Yeah, Frank the Plant is off being whatever he is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess let's talk about your favorite character because I know it's your favorite character. Tell me about Clayface.
Love Clayface. Clayface is probably the greatest character. Maybe it's because I'm in the entertainment world and I know people that are like him.
Yeah.
You know, that whole acting. And I was very excited to see that they started in with the backstories again when he starts to talk about characters. And, you know, what if he is there just having he quit cigarettes, but he keeps one in his pocket? And, you know, I just love that. And then they, of course, show that scenario that he acted out. There's something great. I don't know, visually. In like season one, I'll tell you the thing that I was like, I love this guy was when they had him play Batman at the end. They were trying to convince Joker that they had captured Batman, and he couldn't help but not sing and smile during the happy birthday. Like that over exuberant, joyous, like
he's like
love of performing
almost, right?
Yeah, like that sort of like love for like the stage and the theater, and you know, you can just see it in the character. It's hard for me to see that in like a lot of cartoon characters, to see like the lighting of the eyes and like the expression come out. But like I feel like with Clayface, you can see it. You can see it the way they draw it, the way he acts it, and you know, voice acts it, and he's just phenomenal. So I'm glad that he's all about this whole thing. And then you have the whole the subplot with him, with the biopic.
And James Gunn and doing James Gunn is directing the Thomas Wayne biopic.
Yep. And it's actually James Gunn's voice. So and I just think that, you know, and he couldn't get cast, so then he turned himself into the chair, and you know, this is all kind of he kills was it Billy Bob Thornton? Was that supposed to be?
He accidentally.
Well, he doesn't kill him, but
Billy Bob Thornton accidentally went into Catwoman's tiger room and got decapitated.
Yeah.
And so to cover it up, he called his buddy over at King Shark. Oh my God. I think those two together, I love when they reunite, right? Because like the first half of the first episode is Harley, right? It's just them going on their Eat Bang Kill tour. And then eventually they get the call from Clayface and King Shark. They're like, yo, we're still in prison and we're being tortured. So when they go to break them out and rescue them, they're like, it's Harley. And then they're like, Shark Face. I thought that was the best name for that duo, because I really do feel they are a duo. Those two.
They are. They could have a whole
other. They could. They are so hilarious. But like that you have a best friend that you can call to come and eat the body so that there's no evidence of it. That's amazing. I don't think King Shark doesn't have a lot going on right now other than being the supportive friend to Clayface. But they did remind you that he does have a wife because he had to do that for politics, right? He had to marry someone from a different Atlantic or ocean
shark family,
like a hammerhead shark, whatever. And then I also really do like that when they're talking about that Thomas Wayne biopic, he's like, great, another movie about a bipedal billionaire. Like I love
Yep.
that so much because like I refer to all of you as bipeds. All of you are bipeds in my brain. That's how I see all non-wheelchair people. So I appreciate that. Like I felt represented for a moment by
There you
King
go.
Shark in that
There you go.
moment.
And again, those two characters off each other, they're always like this joyous, like childlike zest for life. Like he's just they're always very happy.
Yeah,
And
they're super happy. Yeah.
yeah, they're great comic relief.
Yeah, I would say like the show feels also different because there's no Dr. Psycho yet.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's a big component of what made that show really bonkers
Right.
because he was the truly evil character on the team that was like cutthroat evil, right? Like, but he was so funny because he was just packed in this little man with a giant, enormous head, played by Tony Hale. And I've been so bummed because like they're not even like getting Tony Hale to play other characters right now. So like he's just not on the season so far. But like, do you think he's coming back? Like,
I think
is
they
the
have
story
to.
done with him? Like,
No, I would like to. I would hope they bring him back because they have plenty of room for it. And like you referenced in the Villies, they showed all of the characters they killed off over the previous two seasons. So it's like you're going to need some people in that world that are still the villains.
Yeah, the last we see him was in the finale of the previous season where he's in prison. They don't even like have him talk. They just show he's in prison with a bunch of other people. But yeah, I miss him because he was like the wild card in a team with Harley Quinn.
Right.
I felt like Dr. Psycho was the real like wild card of that group. So I feel like King Shark and Clayface are just a little too positive vibes all the time. You need something
Right.
to counterbalance that. And I don't think it's Ivy because like there's a lot of emotional weight to
Yeah.
what her and Harley Quinn are going. And I don't think it's Frank the Plant. So yeah, right. I just feel like there's a sixth person that needs to be there to really like balance it all out.
Yeah, bring that darkness, bring that little bit, because Harley's just crazy. She's like that manic crazy, but he was like the sinister. You're like, oh, like the one everyone would like stop and look,
And he was a giant misogynist too, and that made it even better. Just everything he said was so inappropriate. They just needed an HR all the time for this guy. He was so bad. I miss him, but we'll see. Maybe he'll come back.
I think he'll be around.
Yeah. And then Frank the Plant, yeah, I think it's TBD where he's going to go this season. But I would like to see them do more with the character just because like he is like the true comic relief of the first two seasons. He's just there for the one-liners, right? Like that's all he usually is. So it's cool that they're giving JB Smooth something more to work with. But back to Clayface for a second because not specifically him, but like I think the coolest thing about him, not just that like all the things you said, but that he's played by Alan Tudyk, who also plays the freaking Joker, man.
Yeah.
Like the Joker is so good on this show. I don't know. He might be one of my favorite Jokers ever.
I would agree with you on that.
I know Mark Hamill's got the title forever, but like this Joker, like he's very aware of what he does all the time, and that's kind of gross. Like it's but like the way he started that award show with the fake, like the mock murdering of Jason Todd in an alleyway, and he's like, and then it just turns into one of those like Billy Crystal like or Ben Stiller type like, oh wait, I have an award show to host, and like and he starts rapping and like and then Robin gets up or the actor playing Robin gets up and starts dancing along. Oh my god, that character is so I don't understand how Alec Tudyk has both of those characters inside of him, but that's just terrifying to me that he can do that.
Yeah, I love listening because you can almost hear it because I do voices and I study voices, so I listen and I hear Clayface and I go, oh, I can hear the Joker. There if you really listen, you can hear them in each. So, but he's phenomenal.
I think my other favorite thing about the Clayface stuff is that so that you're never, like I was curious when he took over Billy Bob, or like I was like, are they gonna have Billy Bob for the whole season? But then it's like, no, it's
No.
Alan Tudyk doing Billy Bob.
Doing Billy Bob. Yep.
And for some reason, even though Clayface is like the world's greatest like chameleon, he can turn into anybody. One, he can't do the voice accurately, and two, he can't fix those teeth, no matter how.
Right, exactly.
Like, no matter everything else, and nobody ever even says anything about it, and it's so good. It's so good.
That's how you know. That's
before we keep going on these characters. Lindsay's comment came in, and she was saying, "I thought Harvey Guillen was pretty hilarious as Nightwing." Yeah,
he was great.
Yeah, I think that was very intentional. That they're like, okay, what more can we add to this family? Let's bring in the Nightwing, and so. I really, like when we were watching it and Nightwing was like not wanting to be a team player, and like he didn't want to hide in the shadows. He wanted to be like, big and dynamic. And my wife Lindsay was like saying like, but isn't that like his thing? And I was like, well, actually, no, it's not. If you think about it, like that's Batman's thing. And that's Batman's thing that he forced upon this poor kid for all his life. But if you remember who this kid is, he's a goddamn acrobat in a circus for like his whole life until the tragic murder of his family. So like the whole reason that there is a Nightwing is because he one day said, F you, Batman, I'm done with this crap, I'm gonna go do it my way. And so I really like that we've brought that character back to Gotham, like for the first time in who knows how long, and he gets to see this wacky family that Batman's assembled while he's been gone, like the freaking macaroni, like the Robin that is now 12 because Nightwing's been gone for 8 years. And he's like, I thought you were 4. And he's like, you've been gone for 8 years. That's how math works, like, or something like that. Yeah. And then Batgirl, Batgirl, who's kind of like, she kind of like took over while Batman was had his back. He got his back broken, right, last season or something like that. Like he was like severely wounded.
Yeah, he was
for most of the season, and so that's why Batgirl had to take over, right? And so, but I also really love being reminded that Batgirl and Harley Quinn really dig each other at like I guess professionally. I don't know, like it's a very mutual respect they have for each other. So that episode where they both end up in an escape room together, they're so happy to see each other, and it's so adorable. Like
and then Nightwing like, I'm gonna kill myself.
I know, right?
We're all gonna die in 3 minutes. I'm just gonna do it faster. I just want
to point out I geeked out really hard when Ivy said, "What's the fastest way to lose a chess?" And I'm a chess nerd, and so when he said the fool's mate, I was so happy. I was just really happy with that. I don't get a lot of accurate chess representations on TV, and
there you go.
That one and the Queen's Gambit are like now my two favorite. But I was like, well, I know exactly how you do it, and but no, that scene it was a really cool scene with Harley and Nightwing, both kind of, I think, presenting to the audience what their internal struggles are going to be for the whole season, right? So I think the two are going to be kind of like parallel characters throughout the whole show.
Yeah, and you'll just see the quote unquote good version of it and the bad version of it, and the differences. But it just kind of shows that commonality between everybody. We all depending on what side you're on, we all have the same emotions, all the same struggles, and so it just touches a little bit more of a bigger emotional, chord with everybody. We go, we're all the same.
All right, now we're gonna get into some more of the ridiculous ones for a minute.
Okay.
Tell me your thoughts on Commissioner Gordon.
Such a great character. I love what they do to him. Just
Chris Maloney, man. I love Chris Maloney in everything all the time, but like this character is
So
bananas.
good. So good. Especially, you see the first two seasons, the way he goes, and now he's just kind of becoming like jaded and bitter and just,
And also
uh,
somehow Two-Face's puppet. Like
yeah, exactly.
how is he Two-Face's puppet? That doesn't even make sense, but
Yeah, Two Faces now is, political campaign manager, and like it's so crazy. And then the scene with the adult stars of the, the Harley Quinn and the Ivy knockoff just on the roof. It's just so
was it
so
like
funny the things
it's
they
like
do to that.
Christy Kryptonite or something like that. I forget the
Yeah,
names of these the porn stars. Oh my god.
it's so funny to just see the layers that they have for the heroes and the characters. So it's like, Batman, they take Batman and they just make him look, a certain way. And then like even more, even worse than Batman, they just lower, like, you think Batman's pathetic. Well, look at Robin or Nightwing. You think he's pathetic. Look at Commissioner Gordon, and it just like it piles on, and they don't stop with the jokes and showing them, and the misery that he's in is
Yeah, he's
so.
just the most miserable human being
Yeah,
that thinks the world owes him something
yeah,
positive in his life. And and now he believes for some reason that he's pinning all of his failures on Harley and Ivy. So he believes that if he brings them into justice, everything will come up Jim Gordon all of a sudden.
yeah. And I
It's
love the Schadenfreude. I love the Schadenfreude of it all. Just everything that could go wrong for him was
so
so good.
bad all the time. What was the they set up a trap for them, and was it the is it the first episode they set up a or no, it was the last season, right? Like he wanted to try and
Yeah. Well, the
he
last season was at the wedding.
the wedding, he tried to arrest them at the
Yeah.
wedding. But did they set up a trap for them in this season so far? I can't remember.
Yes, it was. It was like they. Oh yeah, because they gave them the phone. That was the first episode where
Yeah.
they gave King Shark the phone in the cell.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They coming to rescue King Shark
Yes,
and Clayface
Clayface.
was the
Yeah.
trap they set up
Yes,
for. Yeah. And
and that's when they brought in the adult actresses and.
I half expected the Villy Awards to be another trap from Gordon until I realized, oh wait, no, they want to go all in on this awards thing. They really want you to believe it's a thing that exists. And I think you were saying it kind of reminded you of like a retread of a story they did in one of the previous seasons. Which one was that?
Yeah, it was when she was trying to get into the Legion of Doom, and
Oh yeah,
you got to be
the
nominated,
politics of
and
it all
yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see
Did
that.
What did you think of the guy who had the award? Was that like? I almost felt like that was a trap to like get Harley. When she was trying to get it, and it like turned
Yeah,
into like
the
the
android,
Terminator.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I was a little confused by that. Maybe it's something that'll be revealed later, but like Harley was so obsessed with knowing the results of the award before the fact that she followed the guy holding the briefcase into the bathroom only for him to be revealed to be a robot that she had this giant battle with, and then he ended up eating the award just so that she couldn't
right.
see it, right? But I don't know. I felt like I was missing out on some part of the gag there, and maybe that's something that'll be revealed later.
Yeah,
Or maybe like was it a commentary on awards? Like I'm not quite sure, but yeah, like for me that joke missed a little bit because I didn't understand what's going on. But it could be one of those ones that pays off later when it's like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
right.
Um,
But yeah, I was like, is that are they setting her up? Is that trying to get her, or is it
yeah.
is it just that she's attacking it and triggering
Yeah.
this android?
Again, that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things about the show is like I'm useless. Like my entire
Yeah.
knowledge of comic books is useless to you. Like you are in just as far of knowledge, like level as I am for this show. I recognize characters. Like Lindsay was pointing out, like she thinks it's funny that they always put like Killer Frost in the background. She's always in the background, like of villain gatherings. It's just She's like the blue skinned girl with like the really white hair, and like
Mhm.
she's like an ice villain, like. And then I noticed Nora Freeze, like Mr. Freeze's wife, was in the background of one of the shots too. Like there's all kinds of funny characters. But what about the Riddler? Like, what do you think of the Riddler again? He was in 2 episodes so far this season, right? Jim Rash has
Yep.
actually been in three episodes. Like he's doing double duty now, like Alan Tudyk. So Jim Rash was playing the mayor in the first episode too.
Mm.
But he's from Community. I don't know if you're familiar.
I never watched Community. No, I know.
Whoa.
I don't
But
watch anything apparently.
I freaking love Jim Rash, and I've loved his Riddler for the last 2 seasons. But like it almost feels like instead of being like a guest star, now he's just a cast member of the show. So that's why they're finding other voices for him to do, or they're just gonna put the Riddler in more episodes. But
in the second episode when they were doing the escape room and they had the commercial come on, I was like, that sounds like Riddler.
That's what
said too. I was like, that sounds like Riddler. And then
I let my nerd self get ahead of me, and I was like, I actually think the Puzzler actually might be a real character also. And then like I ate crow because it's like, okay, no, you're right, it's the Riddler. It's the Riddler. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and then I do like his character again, and they're taking him and they're making him so flamboyant and just so, it's just, I love the way they're just twisting all of these characters that you would never think. And it's just, it's funny because it's like, 10 minutes into the episode, they're trying to kill each other. And then all of a sudden they see each other at the awards and they're like, oh, hey, like it's like a 9-to-5 job or whatever, it's like, okay, this is the time of day to like do your villain and, villainry and kill.
You know what? It reminds me of The Tick. Did you ever watch The Tick back in the day or read The Tick? Yeah. How that's like a thing that, like, or Venture Brothers or, all these parodies of like, villainy is a job that they have to do to pay the bills or something like that. Definitely. I got that vibe for sure. Cause he was like super cheerful to be with the Clock King and they gave one of their dog's sibling puppies to the people in charge of the Villies and stuff like that, hoping to get an extra inside nudge on winning best couple, because apparently that's the thing they really wanted to do. They wanted to win best couple. I don't know where they're gonna go with the Riddler. I kind of liked his whole thing last season, which was like he was just their mouse or their hamster on the wheel, and he was super stoked to get like jacked calves because of all the running he did. Like that was so good. So I don't know where they're gonna go with him, but I love his character because he's just like, you just don't know what to expect from him. You don't know what he's going to do, what he wants to do.
Right. Like season 1 for me, the scene was always when the crew was looking for new jobs. So Clayface was working for Riddler and he's doing the live thing. And
he was
just
a henchman, huh?
Yeah, he was a henchman and he's giving him acting notes and line notes and just going in with him. And just, again, that's probably more of a Clayface thing. But the way they played the Riddler off of him was like, I liked Riddler right after that. I was like, okay, you're in. So
it's so good. They just really bastardized all of these famous like Batman like villains and just like, nah, we're gonna do something totally different with it. I loved Catwoman's acceptance speech.
Yes,
like
so good. I only got this because I'm black.
Yeah, I only got this because I'm black. Meanwhile, we've got Black Manta over there putting in the work for like 20 years, and the Joker's like, he's black? Like, they don't even know their coworkers, man. That was so good.
That's so good.
Yeah. I thought it was funny how much Catwoman was in that episode, considering I thought she was just going to be the excuse for why their new lair is now her place, but like, no, we'll bring her into. And it wasn't even just that she was at the Villies too. You also learn that like they're currently developing the relationship between her and Batman. And I don't know if she dumped him in that same episode or if she was just commenting on it wasn't working for her in the moment. I'm not sure, but
Right.
like they're definitely showing you how much of a simp Batman is for Catwoman, and
Yes, exactly.
that was quite amusing to see. Like, yeah, it's really funny how we always get these little like cross sections of the Batman universe through the eyes of this Harley Quinn show, and you get to realize how stupid Batman looks from the
Yes.
perspective
Yes.
of somebody outside of the Batman universe. You know what I mean? Like that's so good. It's so
Yeah.
hilarious.
I think that's one of my favorite things about it is just how they just, like I said, they just bash on him every chance they get.
They really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh somebody who surprisingly is a more fleshed out character than Batman on this show, Kite Man.
Yes. That is very true. You
He
would not
is
expect that.
that is a fully three-dimensional human being with feelings and thoughts,
Yeah.
and like, man, you can't help but root for Kite Man on this show all the time, right? Like I just kind of want Kite Man to be happy. Like
Yeah.
I don't even like I still don't understand why he identifies as a villain, but that's what he does. He's like he's a
Right.
villain, and he's got this adorable new girlfriend in the Golden Glider.
Yeah.
Oh man. And like, but
Yeah.
he wants to have this mature relationship with his ex, you know, who left him at the altar like multiple times. Like,
Yeah. He's got this like goofy cool about him, like
yeah,
you go, wow, this guy's such a dork, but there's something about him that you go, ah. Like in the second season, you meet his parents and,
yeah.
like how they treat him. And
I thought one of the sweetest things I learned about Kite Man this season is that one of his favorite foods is chili, and he will actually change the recipe for whoever the person is that he
yeah.
loves. So
Yeah.
for Ivy, he knew
He
that she
took
was
it.
a
Yeah.
vegetarian, so it was a meatless dish for her. And then for Golden Glider, I don't remember what else he's taking out of it for her, but like that's amazing. Like I just
Yeah.
like the details they keep giving Kite Man, and meanwhile Batman's just this chomp over in the corner that just oh, it's so good. I just how can you not?
By the way,
If you
does it seem odd that Ivy is a vegetarian? Like that she would eat the plants as opposed, you know what I mean? I kind of go
yeah,
back and forth on that.
yeah, no, I get you. It's weird because like she's definitely there's been incarnations of Ivy where she's had like man-eating plants as part of her army and stuff like that. But like but you could be a vegetarian without like, you know, fully murdering, you know, like
Right.
plants too, I guess. Like it depends on what part of the plant you consider the main part of the plant. Like I'm not
Yeah, I
going to
guess
get into the
if it's
specifics.
food, yeah.
Like the fruit that comes from a tree, I mean, you're supposed to eat it, right? Like that's
That's true.
literally its purpose, you know. So
That's true.
it all depends, but no, it is a good it's a cool defining characteristic that they gave her on the show
Yeah.
for the characters. So, but yeah, no, I adore Kite Man so much, and I think this is awesome that we're gonna, I guess, get to check in on him every now and then throughout the season, and see how he how healthy his relationship is with the
Yeah.
Golden Glider, and I think that's going to be juxtaposed with the relationship we're going to see with Harley and
With Ivy, yeah.
Ivy, and possibly, you know, another relationship that might occur too is it has happened in the comics, but we'll see, is Nightwing and Batgirl. That might be another one
Hmm.
it's the relationship show. It's just what it is. Like we're just gonna, and then you know we're not done. Like we got confirmation that the Joker is still full all in on his amnesia family. Like he is completely committed to
Yep.
this to that woman and her children, and he's trying to be the father that they need. What the I don't even understand how that works. He's the Joker, but yeah, he's so I think we're gonna get more check-ins on that family too. And by the way, for anybody who's stuck around this long and has no idea what we're talking about, if this hasn't convinced you to go watch Harley Quinn, like seriously, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
it's a weird relationship show where you're just watching all these hilarious relationships with your favorite comic book weirdos.
Yeah,
And,
if you ever
and
want to see your heroes taken down a peg with everything you always thought, what if they were like this? It's a great.
but I did save one last one for
I
you
was I was waiting.
that doesn't seem to be in a relationship story right now. Maybe
Yet.
because he's having a relationship story of his own where he's trying to like figure out who he is. But I think he's your other favorite character, and I think you do a pretty good voice of him. Why don't you tell us about Bane?
I love Bane. He's such a good character. I love the fact that he starts having this thing with the therapist, or the what are you, a therapist? Or and then he starts questioning himself. Maybe I am this way. Like I just
He has
love.
like a whole Sex in the City moment twice in one
Yeah,
of the episodes. Like he's
yeah.
like monologuing his own thoughts. Yeah.
With the
What were you gonna
Jessica,
say?
and he gets the Jessica whatever. I've never seen Sex in the City, but the Jessica wedding dress that he buys for, $5,000 or whatever it was at the bank. They're like, you bought this?
Oh yeah, the bank put a hold on his card, right? Because of his
Yes.
weird expenditures.
And then so she's like, "Are you depressed?" The bank teller turns to him like, "Are you depressed?" No, I'm fine. And he starts justifying all of his crazy spending that he's doing.
I
Bane,
have
yeah.
I half think he's the Psycho replacement. I
Mm.
half think that the audience spoke in volumes over the last 2-3 years, and the writers understand how much people love that Bane, and I
Yes.
wouldn't be surprised if he's the sixth member of the team. I
That
feel that that's what's going to happen here.
That would make my ear.
He's too good. He's too good, and he's ridiculous.
And now they're really starting to flesh him out. It's kind of like we talked about with Clayface, but now you take Bane, who's just physically big in stature, muscles everywhere, very violent, and then you just give him this innocence, this politically correct, very sensitive, by the book. When he was trying to get them as I filled out all the paperwork, and, just gets pushed aside, no respect, just all of that stuff that they do with Bane just makes him such a lovable character, and I can't get enough. I think that's probably one of my favorite episodes, the second one, because there's a lot of Clayface and a lot of Bane. And
then Bane tries to go and blow up their lair, and he's too late, right?
Yes, yep. Because his card was declined as he bought everything at the store, and can you just put this aside? Well, then I have to do that for everybody.
He's a great character. I do think I think that was my list of characters, and I really appreciate you going through each one of them, because I think we did talk really. We gave a decent amount of conversation to each of their stories so far, yeah. But there was one other one that I'm just curious of. Like, do you think we're getting a Bat Mouse?
I don't. Again, as you said, with this show, who knows what they'll do.
Do you recall what I'm talking about? There is a moment where Commissioner Gordon is finding out that Two-Face is now campaign manager for the mayor again.
Right.
And Commissioner Gordon throws something out the window, and it causes a car accident that ends up with a ghost, and then there's a family of
and he references
mice,
yeah,
and there's the pearls that go flying around.
Yes,
there's an orphan child mouse.
Yeah.
Is it a Bat Mouse? And is Gordon his villain?
That's a real question. I think they'll probably bring that in, and they'll just keep it, hidden in the back or something. I don't
that
know
mouse was wearing clothes.
Right. That's true.
All of those mice were wearing people clothes. I was like, "What are you doing, show?" And is this a story that we're gonna get throughout the season? Are we gonna get a Bat Mouse?
I hope so. Actually, now that you mentioned that, I
You
kind of hope
forgot
they
about
do.
it, didn't you?
I did.
I honestly forgot about it until I rewatched today, and I was like, "Oh my god, they set up a bat mouse in this show."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they better deliver on this.
I
They
really,
better.
I think they will. I don't know that they would put that out there and then just leave that, or
Right? Yeah,
they're so out there that they'll go. We're going to pay this off somewhere.
well, they have like 11 or I mean, they have like 9 more episodes to play with it,
Yeah.
so we'll see. But I do think it's probably time to wrap up this conversation. We've gone a little long. I did have fun, and I did love your Bane, and I hope to hear more of it in the after show. I really appreciate that. I just want to say, like, thank you for being here with just me for this Friday evening to nerd out and talk about Harley Quinn and all the toys and all the Comic-Con stuff and everything. We will be back next week to discuss more superhero news and more Harley Quinn with Ricky and a special guest. But I also want to say thanks to our patrons for supporting our growth and to our audience for tuning in. If you had fun, please remember to like and subscribe and check us out on Patreon for our after show, The Soapbox, which Brian will be joining me there as well. But before I sign off, I just want to say, Brian, do you have anything you want to plug? You want people to, or anything, any last words you got? It could be in the voice of Bane or whatever.
Well, I don't know if I have anything right now, but you can check me out on Comedy Brian. All my social media at Comedy Brian. I'm on Patreon. I'm on TikTok, YouTube. So COMEDYBRIAN. So give me a follow there if you like it. And thank you so much for having me here.
Awesome. Wait, that was a combination of nice and awesome. Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome, bra.
Yeah, awesome. That's what the surfer bra says after
he
melts his face off.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. I think that's it for now. I think it's time to sign off. See you next time on Den Excelsior True Believers. Yeah, enough said.